And what do you know? What do you know? That board just jumped right in my range. I'm all in. I know I have a draw. I don't care. You only live once. Yeah, it's okay. We missed it, but hey, it is what it is. All right, let's try again. But you know what? This is why we use advanced poker training. Hello, guys and gals. Okie Poker Traveler here. Welcome to the Poker Training Dojo. Uh, Again, we're going to be checking out some of the features of advanced poker training, and we're going to be looking at the different poker play simulators that they have. We'll start with the 9 Max. We'll play uh, a few hands. Um, I'll try to highlight just the hands that I think are interesting, and then we'll probably be jumping through this a little bit. I'll give you my commentary on the hands, and then probably the next couple of days or so, I'll do 2 or 3 more of these videos to highlight the other simulators. So let's jump right into it. So we're going to click on the 9 Max, and we'll start with the human-like opponents, because quite honestly, I think the human-like opponents in this game are very, very similar to a lot of the players that you'll find online mostly, but even at low stakes live, like 1-2, 1-3, even some 2-5. So what I usually find is I'll go into the medium or hard level. Sometimes I'll jump up to the hardest, but usually medium or hard. And I like the first level of hard human-like opponents. And then I'll do 10-20 because this usually is like 20 NL online. If you play 20 NL or 25 NL, depending on the site that you play, you're going to find this to be pretty close to what you'll find on that. Additionally, um, my player mix is usually going to be a little more passive than normal. Um, the sites that I play, Global, America's Card Room, Bet Online, the player pool there is going to be a little more on the fishy side, so I'll put them as passive. Additionally, we're not going to be in practice mode, so we're going to be all positions, all hand types. We'll check out our advisor, and we'll only show the advisor when we need advice at this time. Another thing is we're going to use an advisor that I like mainly because of his play style. And uh, so Alex Fitzgerald is a poker player who I would consider a pretty high level uh, poker player in the tournament realm when it comes to online multi-table tournaments. Everything from micros up to the high buy-ins, 1,500, 5,000, $10,000 buy-ins. The guy crushes. So it says he's aggressive pre-flop and unorthodox. So essentially, what he would tell you is don't don't limp pre-flop. Don't call raises very often pre-flop. If you're coming in the pot, if you're first in the pot, you better be raising. If somebody behind you has raised, or yeah, somebody behind you has raised, then you need to be three betting. You need to be putting pressure on your opponents at all times, at every street, and it is a very effective, especially in tournament play, a very effective style of play. So we're gonna use him as our advisor, and we'll start it off. Right away, we get a bunch of limpers. Again, passive players. So 10-8. I don't really want to play this uh, out of position against two other players. I already have money in the pot. Um, I'm going to raise it. If anybody re-raises, I can fold. Okay, caught a little equity here, so I've got showdown value. I'm not really doing anything but checking it down now. If I get a bet, I'm going to fold. Now, I'm going to show you another really cool feature of advanced poker training. When you click the fold button and hold it, it goes to fold and peek, and you can see the opponent's hand. And you can see, yeah, we were crushed. Pocket eight, pair of eights against a pair of queens. I think it's a fold every day. So that's a really cool feature of the site. It also gives you an idea of what your hand equity is. And so we'll go ahead and deal our next hand. Suited 10-8 to an early position raise. Yeah, we'll go ahead and fold this. In the small blind, um, in the small blind, you have a suited hand like this. You're probably about 90% of the time going to fold it. Maybe 10% of the time you might try to be sneaky with it and re-raise. You might get that through every once in a while, especially against something like ace nine. That's pretty much the close to the bottom of an under the gun raise range. So that might work, but you have to be careful. Okay, Queen Jack cutoff. We're gonna go ahead and try to steal. We get a call. We have two overs to a board that's going straight towards us, so we're going to put out a C bet. We'll go ahead and put out another C bet, and we'll take it down. Queen nine suited. I'm going to say this is about the bottom of the range of hands that we would open with here. But again, as Alex would say, and he's our advisor, so he's going to say fold most likely. Yeah. So let's see why he says this. It says, I certainly wouldn't play this hand. Let's see why. So we got a suited two gap hand. That's not ace king. And it lands in the fold category here of our range. So if you look at his strategy with other hands in the category, it's going to say this is the action recommended by your advisor for those hands and similar hands. So suited gapped hands that's doesn't have an ace or a king in it. I'm sorry, that's what that meant. Suited gapped hands that doesn't have an ace or a king in it. So if this were king nine or king 10 or king jack, we might be able to open with this hand. If we have ace 10, ace jack, ace queen, we might be able to open with this hand, but it's not. So also it's going to tell you no one's into the pot, so that's kind of a incentive to open, but still. We're playing deep, so there's really no reason to mess around with a hand like this when you're playing deep, especially when you're playing against other players who are playing deep, of course. You're not really getting good pot odds to raise with this hand. And then, of course, your remaining players are pretty tight. Um, and we can't really tell on the spectrum of how good they are, but we're gonna give them credit for being fairly good. So let's go ahead and fold this hand. Got sevens again. We're in early position now, under the gun +2. So with sevens, this might again be at the bottom of the range. So he says just call here. And I would say that's the unorthodox part of his game. So we flopped a set. Do we want to start becoming aggressive now? I would say yes. There's a straight on board and a flush draw. Yeah, he says raise. All right. And again, we can see why. Okay, so we have uh, a set of sevens. There's a backdoor flush draw and a backdoor straight flush draw on the board, in addition to an already made straight. So uh, some hands that we could, draw to are full house and quads. We do have part of that uh, backdoor straight flush draw, which is good. That means that we know that it has to be something like ace deuce, ace three of diamonds to be able to get a straight flush. And quite honestly, I wouldn't see ace deuce or ace three limping into this flop. So I don't think we have to worry about ace deuce or ace three of diamonds. So we're probably looking at over pairs, some kind of overs with diamonds. All right. All right. So there's no pairs on the board. That's good. If there were, it'd probably benefit us, right? We'd have quads or a full house. We do have the backdoor straight and flush potential here. So we have a lot of equity on this board. So we're not last to act, which is okay with a strong hand like this, because if we raise or if we check, we could check raise. And then no one really had the lead, of course, because we all limped into the pot pre-flop. So there's three other players in the pot. We have a raise here. I could call and see if somebody else raises, or I could go ahead and raise here, which he suggests to do. So I think both of those are okay to call and maybe do a delayed check raise on the turn. Oh, and here's another cool thing about uh, advanced poker training is you can see the ranges of your opponent's hands in a manner that is very, very intuitive. So it's not going to be the normal range uh, chart that you would see, from those GTO training sites. This is going to actually tell you. This is from I don't know if you've ever used the application Flopzilla, but Flopzilla, they'll put hands in this type of fashion, so you can see really not only what is your equity, but what is your equity against their range. And quite honestly, we're crushing their equity right now. I mean, there's really not a lot they can do against us. So again, when we hit the advice column, it'll let us see these ranges, and we're crushing it. I mean, this is the only one we have to worry about. And yes, there is a possibility that they could be sitting on one of those straight hands. That's the guy who limped in originally. Uh, Again, look at his range, same type of thing. Look at their range. Yeah. So probably this guy, I would say, may or may not. But these guys are in the blinds, so I think this guy would be calling with a pretty tighter range. I don't think he's going to have the straights too often, he or she. So I think this is a good spot for a re-raise. So we'll go ahead and re-raise it. They're probably going to end up going all in. Uh, there's a good chance they have the straight. So we have enough in the pot right now. They're re-raising again. He's going to say, go ahead and call. But honestly, if I call, then I'm probably going to hate what I see on the turn because it's going to be a call fold situation. And I don't want that. I want to go ahead and get it all in now. Uh, thanks, Alex, for the advice, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and shove here. And I get a fold. No, I get a call. What do you know? And I end up catching the flush. Yeah, they like to bluff raise sometimes. And again, this is the kind of play that you're going to find online all the time. This guy had nothing but a straight draw with his king eight. There was a flush on the board. There was a straight on the board. The way I was playing with my raise, I'm very likely to have a three of a kind or a set. So his his call of the all in was very fishy and very indicative of some online play that you'll see very often. All right, hey, what do you know? We get sevens again, but we're in a little bit earlier position. So again, we'll take a look at what Alex has to say, and he says call. So we'll go ahead and do that. He likes to call the middle pair. We have a little bit of equity here, basically a low middle pair, and we kind of are in the straight range here as well. I think a call is warranted. He says fold. So again, this is why I really like this training resource. Is I'm a little bit confused as to why I should. So what hand are we up against? Let's go ahead and look at that real quick first. So if we look at his range, you know, we are, yeah, 43% equity here against his range. Okay, 43%. He puts a little less than half pot. So really, we're getting pot odds to call. It's pretty thin. It's a thin call, but we are getting the odds to call. So we'll go ahead and call one time. Another flush card comes out. So we're going to do the fold and peek. Um, we might have just lit 50 on fire for no reason, and we did. So he had the nines. Um, I am not a huge fan of limping in anytime, but I've actually coached. Um, Alex has coached me, and he talks about how middle pairs a lot of times don't play well when you raise first in the pot and you get three bet or called from really any position. Because if you get three bet, you're most likely going to have to fold your sevens pre-flop. You can call a set mine, but that's all you're really doing. If you if you get called by anybody in middle position, they're also going to be calling you with a higher equity range than your sevens. And if they start to become sticky on the flop and turn, and or even worse, aggressive to the point of raising or putting you all in, then again, your sevens are pretty much dead unless you get lucky and flop, a set or quads or something like that or full house. So middle pairs, from I would say sixes up to jacks actually are a little bit tricky to play from early position, and a lot of times he's going to give the advice to call. King 8 suited uh, in the low jack, hijack position. Um, he's probably going to say fold, but quite honestly, when you're playing loose passive players, especially when you have an idea that the players behind you are loose and passive. So let's see what this says. Our, well, it says they're tight, but we're going to find out just how tight they are because I'm going to go ahead and raise. We're going against the grain here. And what do you know? As we go through more hands, these players are going to become much more loose and passive. And that scale that you see is going to go more towards the intermediate and bad side. So it's going to probably land on mixed or mostly loose, mostly passive, and either intermediate or bad. And again, that's the pool of players that you're going to see in online micro stakes many, many times. I think this is a call most of the time, and sometimes you can three bet. I don't think I want to fold this hand, especially multi-way. I could uh, I could realize a lot of expected value um, from this hand in this position. If I get a good flop, then I can check raise the continuation bet that is expected to come. If I don't get a really good flop, I can fold. So his advice is to fold, but again, I'm going to go against the grain here, and I'm going to call. So we don't get a horrible flop. We flop middle pair with backdoor straight, backdoor flush opportunities. If anybody makes a bet here, we're just simply going to call. All right, we'll call this. Okay, I think our equity has gone down considerably now. If we are facing a bet, I think mostly check, sometimes call, depending on the size of the bet. Okay, so it's a half pot bet, somewhere around a little more than a third, half pot. I think we can easily fold this. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we're going up against. Yeah. Yeah, we got bluffed out of our shoes. But you know what? From a from an from an equity standpoint, I'm gonna say we didn't really get bluffed out of our shoes. We made a good fold. Oh, here's another pretty cool feature is it shows you how many hands you've played. So we're gonna try to get up to 250 hands today. And as I said, we'll highlight those hands that are more interesting than others. All right, raise. We have two pair on a pretty wet board. I think we need to bet. I think we still need to bet. We got that one through. This actually might be, from Alex's perspective, a re-raise. You have 40% of a royal here, and I think you have somebody that a lot of times would be trying to steal um, the blinds. He has a fairly high percentage of steals. So 35% of the time he's trying to steal the blinds when he's in position. Um, Again, I think this is a raise. He says it's a call, but I'm going to go ahead and raise it up. We flop pretty good. I think a C bet is in order, and I want to make it small. Okay, we'll continue with aggression, and we get it through. All right. I don't like limping into pots, even when they're limped from early position. I'm raising most of the time. Okay, we flop pretty good equity. We'll go ahead and make our typical 1/3 c-bet, and we'll go ahead and bump it up to 3/4. And what do you know? We got it through. Sevens, again, he's gonna suggest a call. You know, every once in a while, you do need to raise this hand. And especially if you see a lot of passive players behind you and you think you can get through the blinds with a raise from under the gun, because those players are going to see that you've been playing good hands in early position. Sevens aren't bad, and I've already won once with sevens. So, you know, it's not like they would put me. Sevens is going to be of course, the low end of my under the gun range. But I still want to raise it, and I want to make it at 3 times the big blind. Maybe four. Well, we could go four. So we'll go 4 times the big blind and see if we can get this through. Okay, we do have a call, but the flop really crushes our range. Okay, so again, if we look at their range, you know, they're going to have some of that range also, but we own it right now. We're 60% equity on this range. So we're going to go ahead and put in a c-bet here. We're going to put on our normal 1/3 pot c-bet. If this board had another heart or another spade on it, I might make it 3/4, but we'll go ahead with our regular c-bet and we get it through. Okay, we have jacks, early position to a limp. We'll go ahead and raise. We get called. Again, the board smashes our range, c-bet, and take it down. 4 or 5 in the small blind, suited. Most of the time, I'd say 90% of the time, this is a fold. The other 10%, it's a 3-bet. And since I like being aggressive and I like trying to take the pot and increase the expected value of my low suited connectors sometimes, if I raise here, probably a pretty good chance they'll fold. At worst, they'll raise again and I can fold, or they just call and I smash the flop. So I'm going to go ahead and 3-bet this and see if we can take it down now. And what do you know? Although we're under the flop, it still hits us. So we can check raise again, I think. I think we can check raise again here and get this through. Yeah. So we're gonna go, let's go 950. We got a call. Okay, now we have equity. We have a pair. So let's check. I mean, they're gonna pretty much be all in most of the time, but this is very indicative of an over pair hand to the board. So, you know, tens are better. All we have is a 5 and a prayer. We have a gut shot straight draw now, but we're going to fold and peak because I think that we're crushed. They could have something like ace king, ace queen of hearts. They could have, you know, some other pair, maybe like sevens. So that would crush us if they had sevens. So most of their range, again, is going to crush us. So yeah, the only thing I can guess is they have this type of pair, and they're going to have that most of the time. So that's what I'm guessing they have. So we'll fold and peek. What do you know? They had queens. Even a little better than the middle pairs that I thought they had. Yep, we kind of paid for that one. Again, another limp, so we're raising. They re-raise. We're gonna call. He says fold. I'm not folding 40% of a royal here against the big blind, who could honestly be three betting with a fairly wide range. I mean, it was a limp and raise, so I don't know. Their range, I think, could be fairly wide. So we're gonna call one time, and we kind of smashed this board. So um, not sure if we want to donk or check raise, but we definitely want to be aggressive here. Okay, yeah, I think we want to pot this. Yeah, so that was good. 150 to go. Interesting. Okay, so again, we're uh, in the hijack, and we raised, and we're facing a re-raise. Queen Jack offsuit, I'd say probably not a great hand to continue with, and Alex would agree. So we'll go ahead and fold. I kind of want to take a look at what he's re-raising with. And what do you know? We kind of got bluffed. So, but honestly, you know, we kind of got bluffed. We kind of didn't, because if we did go to a flop, I think he would have stuck around. He would have had, some equity there to stick around. He definitely would have stuck around on the turn, and it would have been really, really hard for us to continue if he continued to bet, or, if we continued to bet and they checked, or, you know, at the end of the day, we made the right fold. I think this is a call. He says to raise it. All right. Well, let's take his advice. Guess he doesn't want to go multi-way out of position against a raise. So we're going to raise it. And we get called. We flop fairly well, though, I think. So he's going to say check. Yeah. And then he's probably going to say fold. Oh, he says to raise, which we can't disagree with, because this range is better for our hand than it is for his. So we'll go ahead and try. And they call, and the flush comes. And in this case, when the flush comes, I think we need to be betting. He says to check. We do have some additional equity, so a check would probably be good. Looks like we're getting pretty well crushed, but you know, they've got the one pair overs that are, still killing us most of the time. So we'll check. They check back. I think it's time we bet. He says check. I kind of want to pot it. I don't have enough equity to check. I don't think. I don't have showdown value in this hand anymore. If I go broke, I go broke. And he calls with tens. Yep. And again, you're going to see this type of stuff online, micros, a lot. That was a fish call. That was a hero call by a fish. Um, he should have never even called that flop. That flop action, calling with tens. He was crushed here. I could have had any two pair. I could have had any set of jacks, set of fours, set of eights. I could have had all of that. Could have had a straight draw, a flush draw that realized uh, on the turn or the river. So anyway, it's going to happen. More than not at the micro stakes. Remember, we're playing essentially. I know this is 1878, but let's pretend we're playing uh, 20 20 NL, and we could always go to uh, we could always go to the settings. Where is it? Where we can change it to uh, amount in big blinds. So if you want to play big blinds instead of chips, I think that's a good idea. Gives us a better idea of how much of our stack are we really risking in these situations. So from here on out, for the next 141 hands, we're going to go ahead and play the big blind setting instead of chips. All right, so again, we're emulating a 20 NL online micro uh, game here. Nine max. This has given me the option to chip up, so I don't really want to do that right now. Okay. All right, he's saying call, uh, and I would agree that this might be a fun hand to play um, under the gun. So if we get a raise, we're probably going to need to fold. But this is the thing. 9-8 plays pretty well. 9-8 suited plays pretty well against this guy's range. Okay. This guy's going to have a range of, like tens or better, suited broadways, maybe, I mean, honestly, maybe some offsuit king, jack, king, queen, queen, jack. So I'm going to be a little sticky here. And it crushes his range, and I'm sure he's gonna continuation. So we'll go ahead and fold and show so I can show you. He's probably got, you know, aces, kings, queens, ace, king, king, queen. That was one of the hands that I mentioned. So sure enough, good fold. All right, we need to go in the right direction. This is definitely a check here. We caught the 8, so I think we need to bet it. Somebody's betting 11 big blinds now. They might have a deuce. That's very, very possible. I think this is a fold. He's saying to call. Yeah. The chances of them having quads is fairly low, but it's not zero. um, I think this is probably what we're dealing with, probably closer to that. Uh, we could be chopping, but then again, he could have an overpair, like nines or tens. He could also have, a better two pair, ace eight, 9-8. No, I'm sorry, not 9-8, jack eight, something like that. A lot of hands that are really killing us right now. I think I'm gonna kind of go against his recommendation and fold. Yeah. Yep. That was the hand in many different permutations that I thought he had. Again, this is indicative of online micro. This is when you see online micro players that are playing very passive all of a sudden wake up and jam the pot, they're telling you they have it. And if you don't have a better hand than trips, then you need to be folding pretty much 100% of the time. So, good fold. Thank you, Alex, for the advice, but I believe I'm going to go with my read most of the time. All right. We're limping here. He's saying call. We have two overs. This is the thing that confuses me a lot of time playing poker. Um, we've got passive players that have gone to the flop. This flop could hit any one of us. So it's kind of like a circus game now. Who wants to take the pot? And I think a lot of times first in on the flop is going to take it. Sometimes a check raise might be warranted. Most of the time, a check fold is going to be warranted. But I know these guys are, super fishy, super fishy. Um, this guy defends the C bet 38% of the time. He's got a VPIP of 17%. I mean, this guy's got an even lower VPIP, and he defends the C bet a little more often. So in that case, I got one guy who will defend the C bet 51% of the time, but again, he's in the big blind, and his range is the entire deck. So I honestly think that I should raise here, and I should probably raise, you know, three-quarter of the pot. So 2.5. And I get raised. Again, this is one of those things where when you get raised against micro players, fish, they're telling you they have it. Uh, and he could have so much that crushes me. You know, all the overpairs, all the top pairs of the board, sets, I'm sorry, trips. He could have those trips all day. He could have the straight a lot of times. So it's like, 45, uh, 56, 78%. Yeah, I'm crushed. So let's see. Ace eight, 5-6. Okay. I mean, it was a good fold. It doesn't matter what the run out is. I don't care that the run out was queen queen. Whoop de freaking do. How often is that going to happen? Probably, you know, you're looking at a 2% on the turn and a 1% on the river, or 3% on the turn and a 1% on the river, to suck out uh, against a straight. I know he doesn't have the straight, but he had a lot of equity in on that flop. A lot of equity. He had middle pair, straight flush draw, straight draw. Uh, his raise was a really good raise. So I think my fold, regardless of results here, was still a good fold 99% of the time. All right, so this is a middle position, actually late early position raise. I like this hand. I want to play it. He's going to say fold. I like this hand, especially if I can get position on him. Oh, this kind of sucks. But on the other hand, it also is an indication that I'm going up against three monster hands. Okay, so if we've got broadways all over here, they're blocking each other. They are blocking each other. I get value from that. I think a call here is warranted, and I want to increase my stack. And right now, I've got a pretty darn good opportunity to do that. If we got aces, kings, queens, and I flop a flush or a straight, I could double up here easily. And what do you know? What do you know? That board just jumped right in my range. I'm all in. I know I have a draw. I don't care. You only live once. Yeah, it's okay. We missed it, but hey, it is what it is. All right, let's try again. But you know what? This is why we use advanced poker training. Um, you know, uh, if this was a live game and I did that, my soul would be crushed. Um, but I have the luxury now of playing against a pretty human-like simulator that uh, if I do that, I'm doing that just for practice, essentially. If this were a live situation, now I have a better idea. If I were in a live situation, maybe I need more equity on that board to do that, to make that shove. Maybe I should have had the straight along with the flush to make that shove. Um, but in retrospect, even if it were a live game and it was for, $20, that's what it was for, basically $16, I think it was. Um, I think I'm shoving there most of the time. As stakes go up, um, it becomes a pure fold most of the time. But still, I have a flush draw and a backdoor straight draw. I think I have to go with it. Um, this is another cool feature of uh, this is another cool feature of advanced poker training is the retry previous hand. Okay, so a lot of discussion about this hand. Yes, I probably should have folded. Okay, he's saying call. Uh, I think initially this guy raised 3.5 the first time, but that's okay. We're redoing it, so we get another chance. So we're gonna we're gonna call, and there's a raise. But again, it's the same three guys, right? So yeah, um, we could fold here and peek, I believe. Yeah, it's gonna let us peek. So I didn't see what they had before. I kind of want to see what they had. And I'm guessing three high pairs, so something like aces, kings, jacks. The guy won with jacks, so maybe maybe ace, king, ace, queen, jacks. Who knows? Well, there you go, queens, jacks, and eights, and jacks ended up winning it. If you recall, the queens folded. I'm guessing they were afraid of the ace, obviously. So uh, that's okay. He had eights, no big deal. I had one of his outs. Um, So again, my read on them having higher pairs was correct, except for this one. He had middle pair. But my read on them having higher pairs was correct. And, had I realized that equity on the turn and river, I could have easily doubled up there. Now that's what I'm talking about, the uh, zip to end. When you have that off, you get to see the action after you fold. So sometimes that's good. I want to know kind of what they do in a lot of hands, even if I'm not in it. So I don't really want to, yeah, I don't want to play this at all ever against any money in the pot. So we'll fold. And again, we get to see the action. Check, 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 check. Everybody checks. Yeah, we would have caught our ace. Big freaking deal. We can look at their cards. 310, pure bluff. Good job. Good job, Fish. Yeah, Fish bluff with 310 when there's a straight and a flush on the board. They do. I mean, that's online micro all day, every day. And of course, if I had been in that pot, I could have probably re-raised and made a lot of money because they're deep and they might have Wanted to try to rebluff. Who knows? Four bet. Good. This is a call. And we're going to check it all the way down. Yeah. Yep. Easy fold. Darn. It's okay. We made a correct fold at the time. You're going to see this a lot. If you use this software, guys, you're going to see this kind of stuff a lot. Don't get frustrated. Don't think you made an incorrect decision. Because honestly, if you have fours on this board and somebody's betting five big blinds, you need to fold 99% of the time. The only time you would ever call is if you think this guy is a complete donkey, uh, with a fish head, and he can play literally any two, and some of those twos might be, some 3x offsuit, silly hand that uh, your fours are beating. Um, Other than that, he's repping the queens at the very least. He might be repping, a set of nines and turn to full house. So give your opponents credit. Give your opponents credit, even if they are fish and calling stations and nits and whatnot. We have all those different labels that we put on our opponents, but quite honestly, um, we need to respect aggression from just about anybody. Fold. Uh, he wants me to fold, but this could pretty easily, as passive as some of these people are playing right now. I know they're saying tight aggressive, tight. There's a passive. There's a passive. I mean, they've been playing fairly passive. There's another passive. Let's see if it gets through. I want to see this one time. All right, it doesn't get through. So we probably should fold. And he's saying call now. And in all honesty, a call might be warranted because now there's a lot of money in the pot. Um, we are going to be not necessarily out of position. We're in one of the later spots. So let's see if we can catch a board. Oh, what do you know? So we got two checks to us. He wants to check it. I don't want to check it. I really don't want to check it. Except we do have showdown value. So check. He's gonna say fold, I think. No, he says call. Okay, we'll call. Another seven. Okay, we need to bet it now. All right, good. I think we can re-raise this sometimes. He says call, but again, if somebody re-raises behind us, then we're gonna have to fold our sevens, to be honest. So I think a re-raise here is warranted. All right. So we got middle pair and a dream. Um, since we were the pre-flop aggressor, that ace kind of hits us. So half pot. We're gonna go three-quarter pot, and we're gonna win it. What do you know? All right, we're chipping up, going in the right direction. Ah, yay, we get a hand. Oh, and we get some action. Okay. His advice is to raise, and I kind of agree with that. So we got a tight aggressive who doesn't c bet a lot. So she's c betting with a very, very, very narrow range. So we're up against ace, king, kings, queens, maybe aces. Either way, we want to get all the money in. We want to get as much of the money in as we can. So he's saying go with 21 big blinds. I think I could probably go a little higher than that even. We could maybe even 4x it or 5x it. I'd say 30. Um, so we'll raise to 30 big blinds. All right, it got through. Our aces didn't get cracked. I'm glad. Uh, so again, if you want to get an idea of what the other person was playing there, again, you can always do the retry previous hand and then just click on their hand to peek. And she's doing with this 9-10. That's kind of crazy. Um, that was a pure bluff attempt. I think any raise there would have gotten a fold. I was considering calling. Uh, I was considering calling there. I mean, you know, eh, and now she folds. Okay, well, no big deal. All right. So obviously on that last hand, she's bluffing a small percentage of the time. She's folding 95% of the time. All right, 7-8. This is a call. Yep. And it's a call here too because we're dealing with the big blind, and they can honestly be raising with a pretty wide range. So he's gonna say fold, but I will call in this situation for two reasons. Number one, it is the big blind, so they could be calling with, I mean, they could be raising with their wide range. Um, and their pre-flop raise, although it's low, it's at the upper end of the range, and my middle suited pair plays pretty well against those holdings. So if I can connect here, I can make a lot of money. He's deep. I'm pretty deep. I have a feeling if I connect here, I might be able to double up. That crushes my range. I think a call here a lot of times is warranted. Sometimes a re-raise, but if he has an overpair, aces, kings, queens, I don't think he's going anywhere. So I want to see a turn. So I'm going to call. Ace on the turn is not good. He's gonna jam now. Oh, he didn't. He didn't jam. Very interesting. All right. Can I turn my hand into a bluff? There's 21 big blinds. If I do, I'm gonna make it like 15. 15 big blinds. Apparently he doesn't have aces. The ace is scaring him. He might have kings or queens. A bet on the river could get him to fold his big hand. So we're gonna go for it. He calls with jacks. Very interesting. So he had showdown value and realized his equity. He probably would have called with queens and kings too. Yeah, that last hand kind of sucked. I know I folded the big blind to a limp. I'm not playing trash even in that case. I just don't want to do it. I don't want to give the fish food. I can call this. I can call that. I can actually bluff this. Dad gummit. They have a flush. I'm calling. Ah, goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. I'm making some really poor decisions here, guys. But again, this is why we practice. Because if we make our poor decisions while we're practicing, we learn from them and we don't make those poor decisions when we go out in the streets. Okay? When we go out on the tables, when we go out into the live games, the online games, and we understand what our mistakes are and we try to plug those leaks. This helps you plug those leaks. All right, this is a fold. Fold. Yeah, I'm not doing it. And you know what? That's kind of what I thought. All right. Again, king nine in this position right here. I'm gonna call, and we catch a nine, so we'll go ahead and put a half pot bet in, and we win. All right. Again, this is a raise, just a call. Okay, and we're gonna chip up. Good. Uh, Good. I think we call here. I think we bet here. He says to check. Um, we have showdown value, but yeah, he's gonna say fold. Let's take a look. Yeah, we were crushed. Not only were we crushed, we would have gotten sticky on the turn, so good thing. Okay, so we're in the button with suited connected hand, and I know it's really a low suited connected hand, but they're limping in kind of in middle position. I don't want to play this even in position, uh, you know, to a raise or multiple people in the plot. So I'm gonna four bet. I mean, put four big blinds in. I'm gonna I'm gonna raise the pot. Now I have some equity, some pretty good equity. I have a gut shot, and my raise falls within that range there. So go ahead and see. All right, we got it through. Hey, we're chipping up. What do you know? Okay, 79, backdoor straight, backdoor flush. We've got some equity here. Good call is warranted. He checks now. Um, there's a straight on board now, so we can rep it. Good. All right, we're moving in the right direction. Fold that. We'll go ahead and three bet that. This is a really good board for us. Yeah, we're gonna bet it. Good. Got it through. All right. We've got about 26 hands to play. We need to chip up a lot. We've got a little bit of work to do. Is this a fold? Nope, he wants me to call. All right, we're gonna go set mining. Oh my goodness gracious, are you kidding me? We might have a straight here, but you know what? I could triple up here. Uh, nice. Nice. Well done. All right. Look at that. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, we are three hands away and almost to a double up, which would get us back to even basically. But we're not going to be getting tricky with King six suited. We're just going to fold that. Oh my goodness. Let's hope that Stewart is the type of person that will limp raise. He isn't, but you know what? We got other folks in here. Oh my goodness. All right, so here it is again, folks. The fish has become a piranha. I'm going to fold and show because I'm pretty sure that hit their range. Uh, you know what? Good bluff. Good bluff. They knew that that was not in our range and that we were being silly for betting, and I was being silly for betting. Sometimes, sometimes you need to check your monsters, especially when you're out of position. This is a really good example of a player who knows position and the value of position and uses it effectively. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and three bet this. and I'm actually going to call this. I want to double up here. Um, we've got one hand to go after this hand. I've got a hand that plays well against monsters, so we'll call. We get the five. They could easily have ace king, ace jack, ace queen. They could have heart draw. I don't want to call. If I'm going to do anything, I'm going to raise. So we're going to 4x raise it. And now we're going to pot it. And we win. Oh my goodness gracious. Feels so good. We actually made a little money in this session. What do you know? But here we are. 250 hands. We actually came out a little ahead with a late inning push. Our reliever did its job and we made a little bit of money. All right. So we're going to close this out. And when we close this out, it's going to ask us, do you want to quit and save your results now? You say yes. Okay. And it gives you your results. And this is really, really, really cool. So we actually stopped at 249 hands. We played 250 hands. That twos hand, I don't know why it doesn't show up, but that's okay. I'm pretty sure we played 250 hands. Anyway, um, our overall winnings $530 on a, I mean, you know, theoretical $4,000 buy-in. Um, our all-in luck was pretty low. That's okay. I'm not really concerned about this all-in luck rating. Unless it's two or three cats. If you're shoving a lot and losing a lot, and you see your all-in luck rating low, it has nothing to do with luck. It has everything to do with you're probably shoving with really, really marginal holdings, like 8 9 of diamonds on a two ace three with two diamonds board. I don't know. Oh, pre-flop is basically saying that we didn't really do well pre-flop. The percentage of other uses that perform better than you. Okay, so guys, don't get wrapped up in this too much, to be honest. Take it with a grain of salt. Um, take it for what it's worth in the information that it's providing you. Um, says theoretical number of chips you won or lost, adjusted for luck. And if we open this in a new tab, here's an explanation of this skill, the skill ratings. Okay, and this is just another reason why advanced poker training is such a great training resource. Is you're going to get a pretty good idea of how well you're playing. So overall, I did pretty darn well. I did better than 79% of the other folks that are, training on the site. I got 250 good hands in. This is the part I really, really like to keep an eye on every time I have a session. Okay, because things like VPIP, you want to have your VPIP. It says between 15 and 27%. 24, bam, we're right there. Your pre-flop raise percentage should be about half of your VPIP. I'm a little higher, but that's because I'm a little more of an aggressive player. So your aggression factor, there you go. This. I'm usually landing between upper threes and lower fives in aggression factor. I was very aggressive this time, mainly because I got down early with that bust out, and I felt like I needed to uh, punish the fish. So you went to showdown. This is how many hands went to showdown. You want to be between 17 and 25%. I'm on the low side of that, but I'm still within that range. So I did really well there. Won at showdown, uh, 25%. I won at Showdown. Nevertheless, I still came out positive. This is something that I really, really need to work on, especially at the 9 max. Uh, and I could go to my reports and show you what I'm talking about. But yeah, 25%, that's a leak. That's a big leak. And that's something that I need to um, definitely improve on.